We are deep into Q4. This is probably my third or fourth season on YouTube, with Q4 here. My fourth Q4, my third Q4. Who really knows at this point? I wanted to pop in here and make a video for you guys about Q4. I want to give you some tips, just some guidance, just some things that I personally have experienced on Q4. And I kind of want to give you an output. And it's not going to be grim, it's not going to be salty or angry. But I want to give you guys a real world view of what Q4 actually is and the reason why some people's Q4s do actually very well and some people's don't. I want to talk about these things. I want to be real with you guys for just a minute. I haven't been posting as many videos on YouTube recently, as you guys have probably have seen. And part of the reason for that is because I've been working really, really hard on my own kind of stuff. The Redbubbles, the TeePublics, the Zazzles. And why, I speak in a plural format is because I have multiple of these stores. I also have stock photography type businesses that I'm working on. There's a lot that I'm doing. Honestly, I'm burning the candle on both ends here. And it feels great. I feel accomplished. I feel very good when I'm doing well. Every night that I put my head on that pillow and go to sleep, I can't do it unless I'm dead tired, unless I feel like I'm succeeding, unless I feel like I'm accomplishing something. And, guys, I do this whole YouTube thing, obviously, aside from print on demand, aside from Adobe Stock, aside from Vecteezy, aside from all these different businesses. But my main thing is I have websites that write articles, and these articles are written, and these articles turn into income. You guys know how it works. A company messages you. They want to be featured on your website. An affiliate company says, hey, you want to be an affiliate for our product, post an article about us, things like that. You guys know how it's done, right? This is nothing new. But that's my main business, and I have over 70 plus websites. I'm not necessarily having to manage all of them every day, but I am doing a lot of work. I have a couple virtual assistants that are really working hard with me on this kind of stuff. So it's been a lot. But I've been through many Q4s now, and I could just give you guys my best form of advice. Most people who are listening to this video today have some sort of print-on-demand stores and some sort of stock photography stores, maybe even both. If you want Q4 to be good for you, you had to have done the work during Q1, Q2, and Q3. And that's the sad, grim reality. Most people listening are not going to benefit nearly as much from a true Q4 because they haven't really done any work all year round. I get comments from people all the time saying, I should have done more. I should have done this. And you're making me realize I'd done more. At the end of the day, guys, motivation is fleeting. It's almost non-existent. The reality is that if it's here for a minute and it's gone the next, here for a day and it's gone the next, then motivation is effectively worthless. What's the most important thing is this kind of controlative discipline where you can just turn on a switch and do the work. I know it's not easy for everybody to do that because, and simply, it's possible for everyone to do it. It's just not easy because we have other things in life that command our time, command our attention. But the truth is that if you want to truly escape, right, from this quote-unquote matrix, like people call it, which it kind of is a matrix, I get the ideology, but if you want to escape from the reality that you're living in and you want more, right, more success, maybe you want financial freedom, and keep in mind, guys, this is a little side notation here. The only reason I value money and the only reason I value success is because it brings forth freedom. I wouldn't be interested in success if it didn't give me freedom. Freedom is the most important thing to me. But like I said, I've been making these videos, in past Q4, and I say the same message pretty much every time, is that Q4 is the success that comes to you is really built through Q1, 2, and 3, especially in the TeePublic game, the Redbubble game, the Society6 game, the Zazzle, etc., even Etsy. A lot of the success is going to come because of the work that you've done all year round. And the reality is that for people who do Q4 correctly, sometimes you can make 5, 8, 10 times more than you would normally make any other month in Q4. And specifically the last couple of months, maybe not necessarily October, but November and December are heavy months where you can make a ton of money, really. And the way I look at it is when Q1 comes around, I look at it like, okay, I'm preparing now for Q4. And really what it looks like is I don't have this need that I have to succeed right here and right now. I don't have this need that I need to make money right now. I tell the same thing to everybody, whether it's in the stock photography business, it's in the Redbubble business, the TeePublic business, etc. It's like everybody's kind of working and they kind of say, well, where's my income right now? I did this right here, right now. I didn't get enough. Well, the first thing is you have to understand a person who has that mentality is most likely a beginner. Now, I want to explain what a beginner is. A beginner is not someone who has been in the game for a month or two, because there are people, believe it or not, there are people, and there's few of them, who are in the game, whether it be print on demand, TeePublic, whatever it is, have much more success, dramatic success in 2 months compared to that of someone who's been in the game for 5 years, who has no success. The guy who's been in the game for 5 years who has no success, believe me, that person is a beginner compared to the individual who's been in the game for 2 months and has had massive success. Now, people might be listening and they say, well, it's impossible to be massively successful in 2 months or a month or 2 or 3. And that's not true. The reality is most people give only 5 to 10% of their effort on a certain plan or a certain business. They have motivation, but once again, motivation is fleeting. It is here for a minute and it's gone for months at a time. And really, I don't think you should blame anyone. You shouldn't even blame yourself. The reality is it's either a decision. It's a decision of yes or no. Do you want it or do you not want it? And the reality is the more you're into the game, and believe me, every single different passive income strategy, every business strategy that's even not passive income is a game. There's ways to play the game. There's ways to win at these games. And it all works by understanding the rules of the game and learning how to manipulate those rules to get the most out of it. I'll give you a quick example. You guys have seen some of my stock photography videos. Like if we go on videos here and you see some of these stock photography videos, some of them are members videos, some of them aren't. But you've seen some of them where I use like automation tools and things like that, right? And then I always get comments of people saying like, oh, this is just not fair, blah, 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 blah. And the reality is life isn't fair. There's going to be people who utilize the rules and manipulate the rules to their best advantage. And I'm one of those people. For example, when I use an automation tool or an automatically upscaling tool, some of the tools that you see here, right? When I use these tools, right, and I grow my accounts much, much faster with them, am I quote unquote cheating? Not really. I'm allowed to. But it's a huge advantage that I'm gaining. And at the end of the day, you have to realize that every business has its own lifetime. And it has a clock. It has a countdown timer on it. Some businesses will last for 35 years. Some businesses will last for 8 years, 5 years, 10 years, 12 years. During the time that I'm in that business, I want to be able to understand the rules. And I want to be able to manipulate those rules to allow me to get the most out of them. I've even said this on Adobe Stock. I've said this where I said, guys, Adobe Stock says that you can't have more than one account. They have some allowances depending on how you're going to have more than one account. So, for example, one of those allowances are if you have 1 million photos or more, you can have a second account. If you have an account which is in different categories, so like, for example, if you're uploading vectors or images, things like that, they have these rules behind them, right? And I didn't play by those rules, and I don't play by those rules, and I'm fully here to admit that I don't play by those rules. And I also reap the results of that where I have multiple accounts. Yes, am I technically breaking the rules? Sure. It doesn't really matter to me. It's not like I relied on the income anyway, but I'm automating, I'm doing things, I'm multiplying my output. And notice what I tell in my videos. I say, guys, I don't give this advice to everyone. Do what you want, of course, right? I'm not going to tell you to go break the rules, but I'm going to admit to you that I am breaking the rules because I want you to be aware of what I'm doing, right? I'm not saying that you should go out there and do it. I'm just simply saying that I do it. You understand my point? And certain times, certain risks allow me to get more results. Once again, I'm not sitting here advising that everybody break the rules. That's not what I'm saying at all, right? All I'm trying to say is that there are rules to every game, and there are some games that you can get by not necessarily playing by the rules. And the truth is that, in every world, in every business, right, there are things that happen that allow you to catapult your level into success. One of the reasons that I created multiple accounts on Adobe Stock is because I realized I was hitting my limits too fast. You know, like for example, I have an account that hits 501 uploads, and that was the max at that point. Well, that was not enough for me. I could create 500 images a day, every half a day. That's not enough for me. I need to be able to upload more. So what did I do? At first, I started creating Vecteezy accounts, right? And I had a free pick account and all these kind of things. And I kept uploading there, but it just wasn't enough push for me. It wasn't enough pull. I need to do more. Now, obviously, I have this addict type of mentality, which I believe not everyone shares on this YouTube channel. Some people do, some people don't. But I'm just sharing my experiences. I'm not saying that you should do the same. Obviously, you should take everything that I say with a grain of salt and use your own kind of logic. But at the same time, what I'm really trying to say is that I figure out what things are and I try to blow them up, if you will. And sometimes it works in my favor and sometimes it doesn't. I'll give you a quick example. Merch by Amazon. Merch by Amazon, I was playing with fire. You know, I was doing things that I shouldn't have. I was using keywords that I shouldn't have, that have been clearly trademarked or whatever. And it just gotten to a point where it bit me in the butt. But at the same time, you know, I was growing very, very, very quickly. Literally in the first week, I had generated maybe $60, $80 a day on Merch by Amazon at a tier 10 level. And I got to tier 500 very quickly. We're talking in a couple of months, you know, maybe 3 or 4 months, maybe 2 months. I don't exactly remember, but I was at tier 500 very quickly, you know. So what I'm trying to say is that you can't win all games. You're not going to win all the time, right? If you play the game that I'm playing, which is extreme risk with extreme growth. But my point is that you have to be able to find vectors for growth for yourself. You might not want to take as much risk as I have. It's perfectly fine. And most people, with all due respect, are not in the position to take as much risk as I have. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, part of taking risks is being willing to take a risk and being in the financial position to take a risk. You know, if it's somebody who's starting out with their very first passive income account, let's say, on Adobe stock, and they have no other business experience, I would say don't take a risk. You know, just learn how to master the game. Do well for yourself first before you try to do anything else. You know, like breaking the rules, let's say. But that's not really what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that you have to be able to learn how to grow. You have to be able to learn how to do things that help you multiply your success. You know, for example, let's take the world of advertising. Let's take the world of YouTube. If I have a YouTube channel and I'm an entertainer, and I'll give you a perfect example. This guy, his name is Bandman Kevo. I watch his videos because he's a marketer at heart. This guy's he's very smart, right? This guy, what he does is he, instead of just putting the boring business content, he shows his life. And his life is flashy. He's got the jewelry, the diamonds, the Lamborghinis, the Ferraris, the vacations, the women. He's got it all, right? And he basically pays for ads on those videos. And those videos get thousands, millions of hits sometimes. I mean, if we could go to his popular videos, this video has 3.2 million, 2.1 million, 1.5 million. Some people would say, well, he's cheating because he's running ads. But he's just playing the game and he's winning at playing the game. So my point is that, you know, you got to first understand the game. You got to learn how to play the game. And after you learn how to play the game, there are certain ways that you can win at that game by bending the casual's point of view of the game. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I'm not telling you to necessarily, you know, do anything illegal or, you know, do anything bad, but there are certain ways that you can win in life, not by playing to the same rules that everyone else plays by. You know, and part of the reason why I even say stuff like this is think about it. You know, I've only worked 2 jobs in my life. One was at a restaurant, one was at JCPenney's, and I was in college at the time and in high school. After that, I never worked for anyone in my life. I worked for myself. And part of the reason why that happened is because I'm not looking to someone else to provide me answers. I try to figure it out myself, A, and more importantly, B, I figure out what the rules of the game are, and I figure out what the casuals are doing, and I pretty much do more than what the casuals are doing. I'm taking it an extra step further. And the more you go deeper and deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole, the more experience you're going to gain. And you could look back in time and you'll realize how much growth that you've achieved. And to be honest, for the people who are watching my YouTube videos consistently, think about this. Remember the first time you watched a YouTube video of mine, whether it be a month ago, a year ago, 2 years ago even? Think about how much you grew and how much experience you gained from point A to where you are now. It could be point C, it could be point D, point Z, point F, who knows? Everybody's at different levels. The point is that you've grown completely. The person that you were a year ago or 2 years ago is not the same person you are today. And hopefully, if you've done things right, the person you are today could blow past the person you were 2 years ago with knowledge, with experience, with know-how, things like that. So that's really all it is. You need time to be able to win at the game as well. Because yes, you can know everything, but if you don't learn how to give time to the business, to the operation, it's going to be very hard to succeed. People need time. People need experience. People need time in the game. So with that being said, guys, you want to have a great Q4? It all starts with Q1, Q2, and Q3. Don't expect to have a great Q4 if you didn't provide good success and good results and good work during those first 3 quarters. And if you didn't, well, you should start preparing for Q1 from now. You should start doing the right things now. And to put things into perspective, I don't know if people remember this. It's been a really long time since. But when I was first talking about Redbubble, I had done Redbubble for years before then. It wasn't something I was committed to. When I first started speaking about it, I said, you know what, I'm going to commit to greatness on this platform. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload 60 designs a day, every day. And that's how it started. And I did that, and I committed to it, and I did a whole entire year of uploading every single day. And I would actually commit to making videos telling people about it. And some people say, you know, I don't know how to do it. I don't get the ideas. I didn't do whatever. But I figured it out, and I kept working at it, I'm not saying it was easy. And this was back in the time when Redbubble actually allowed 60 designs a day every day. Now they allow 30. But the point is that the rules were different then, and I used that to my advantage. And over time, I started adapting to those 60 designs a day, where it started to not really become a challenge as much. Maybe it was a nuisance, but it definitely wasn't a challenge. In the beginning, it was an extreme challenge. You know, for the first few months, I was tired. I was dead tired. I didn't have energy. I was just, you know, kind of scraping through it, if that makes sense. And it was difficult. And I created those designs, and I certainly wasn't something I wasn't used to, you know, because I was, once again, still a beginner. Even though I was in the game for years, I was still a beginner. I didn't have the level of experience needed to achieve a high level of success in that game, right? And make no mistake, business is a game, right? So over time, I got better and better and better, and to the point where it wasn't a challenge for me anymore. So I figured I can start scaling now. I start hiring people to create Redbubble accounts and to start creating designs and start uploading, to the point where I started to create delegated roles. I had virtual assistants who were responsible for the images. I had virtual assistants who were responsible for taking those images and doing the research based on those keywords. And thankfully, they didn't have to do too much research because there were keyword tools and such associated with it to get extreme success there, you know. And there were different ways to utilize that, but I used everything to my advantage. And I hope that you guys can do the same. Q4 success starts with Q1. It doesn't start with Q4 work. You know, if you've started during Q4, don't expect your Q4 to be amazing. Don't expect it to be a great Q4. It all depends on the amount of work you did during Q1, Q2, and Q3. Everybody's talking about, oh, how can I achieve massive success during Q4? The reality is you're not. If you haven't done well Q1, if you haven't done well Q2, and you haven't done well Q3 in terms of work, right? And if you guys remember, during the very first video I posted for this new year, or even before then, I told you guys how to set goals. Goals, you do not measure goals based on your results. You measure goals based on your work, because the work is going to get the results. You can't really dictate or guarantee that you're going to make every shot, per se. And I'm giving you a metaphor here, a basketball metaphor, right? Michael Jordan can't guarantee that he's going to shoot every shot and make it, but he can guarantee that before the game, he can shoot 1,000 shots as a warm-up, as practice, so that when he goes into the game, he's already shot 1,000 shots. He has a good feel for the ball. He has a good feel for the hoop, the net, whatever you want to call it, and he makes those shots at a higher percentage than had he would normally if he didn't train, if he didn't practice. So this is the same concept, all right? I'll talk to you guys later. Hopefully this video helps out, and I wish you guys the best. I'll see you soon. Peace out. Bye.